DJ Willie Doo, ones and twos. We got a guest today. It's been much talked about many times, that eventually someone would be sitting in that spot right there. Because I don't know, man. We publish a lot of episodes, but the goal was always to meet people, have conversations.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, there's that guy.
Hey.
That's Peter McKinnon.
What's up, man?
There he is.
Now, we did have in the past, we had Dave Lee come on, but I screwed the whole thing up. Chatter. You know, I messed it up. And so my goal here today is to give you the room you need to breathe. My goal here today is to let the people know about who Peter McKinnon is.
Man, I feel so honored.
Because I feel like the people they need to know.
I mean, I'm happy for them to know.
So why don't we kick it off with how it all started?
Back, you want to go?
How'd you get onto YouTube, man? What happened?
Dude, by accident. I always tell people, I was a Vimeo guy. Oh. Yeah. I used to think YouTube, I was like, that's not where artists go. Vimeo is where artists go.
A Vimeo elitist.
Yeah.
So
I just thought it was better resolution. The UI was nicer. The graphics looked more modern and updated. Then I didn't pay my subscription one year and they held all my videos hostage. Gone. I deleted it all.
You were like, those cool artist types were also gangsters.
Yeah. But you have a bunch of like private videos and stuff up there. And literally, if you don't pay your subscription, they're like, if you want to access your stuff again, you got to pay us.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I don't want to do that. And a friend of mine said you should just, if you want someone, the key word, I remember him specifically saying, if you want people to actually see what you're making, put it on YouTube.
I guess that was some good advice, would you say?
Yeah, worked out.
Shout out friend.
Yeah, Chris Ramsay.
Oh.
The puzzle guy.
You know what? I'd love to have him on as well. The puzzle guy.
On. He'd be here in a minute.
Can you put us in touch or what?
Absolutely.
Look at that. Because it's another Toronto guy. How about Toronto? Shout out Toronto.
Shout out Toronto. He's from Montreal.
Oh, never mind.
But he's here a lot. And one of my good friends, we still collaborate on stuff. I'm calling him every day. We FaceTime all the time. And he really took this puzzle thing to the next level.
I never knew puzzles could be like this.
Me neither.
Another shout out to Chris Ramsay is my kids love his videos.
Oh, that's awesome.
They would get a kick out of it as well.
Yeah.
Maybe you could bring one over here.
Solve it.
And I could fail to solve it. Because it looks like it, it's quite a thing.
Yeah.
So how did you get hooked up with him? Or how did you...
So Chris and I are both magicians. And we worked for a company that created magic and sold magic to other magicians. It's crazy.
This is a ridiculous story right here.
So we would come up with tricks, lease tricks off different artists, buy the rights off tricks for different artists, design products, decks of cards. I think actually the company sent you one way back in the day. It was this fire flamethrower thing.
What is going on?
This wrist-mounted flamethrower thing.
Okay, yes.
Do you remember that?
This. Yes.
Anyway, our company came up with that, and we would just make magic and sell it to the masses. And
this is the one.
That's the one. Yeah, there it is.
4 years ago.
Wrist-mounted flamethrower.
Look at young Lou right there.
That's me, buddy.
Few less gray hairs in the beard over there, and just playing with what was it called? Pyro.
Yeah, Pyro Mini. That was the small one.
Pyro Mini.
Yeah, conceal that under your wrist. Bam. TSA. Won't even see it coming.
Wait a second here. Wait just a second.
Blowing your mind.
You worked for this company at that moment?
Yeah.
And you were like, hey, we should send this to YouTubers?
Our marketing guy was like, there's this dude online that unboxes stuff. And I was like, cool. Yeah, I think he's actually in Toronto. I was like, oh, that's cool. We should send him one of these. Do you know him? And I was like, I don't know everyone that lives in Toronto. No.
But it is interesting, the way you said that. How you said, he's actually in Toronto. That happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy's actually in Toronto?
What?
I just did it to poor Chris Ramsay, even though he's in Montreal. He's probably very upset with what I said. But it actually does happen.
Yeah.
There's quite a few cool people around here, and you and I are like, whatever, 5 minutes apart.
Yeah.
Which is also ridiculous.
I could one wheel here.
But it also means that you can show up, you can be on this show.
Yeah.
which is cool.
It's gonna happen.
All right, so
we sent you the flamethrower. There was one day Chris and I were standing in San Diego, and we were just both talking about, wanting to take our creative lives into our own hands. How do we do that? And he was saying, I have about 37,000 subscribers on YouTube. I was like, whoa, what does that mean? He's like, I don't know, but I feel like I could maybe monetize it somehow and make it a job. And I remember at the point thinking, I don't know, man, that sounds kind of risky. Like,
you remember what year that would have been?
It would have been 2015, 2015, maybe into 2016. It wasn't until 2017, maybe, or the end of 2016, we both quit the same weekend and we both started uploading. And within, I would say, several months, we were both over 300,000 subscribers.
Now, were the both of you communicating as you were undertaking this new endeavor? So it was like a lot of back and forth. What are you doing and seeing? And
check this out. This site will do captions for you. I'm like, oh, what does that mean? Why do we need captions? And oh, thumbnails work better this way or this way. And it was kind of like really cool to actually have a friend who was going through it at the same time. And still to this day, we're pretty close. So it's been nice to have that person.
And so what were you uploading back then, 2015?
2015.
2016.
That's my office. That was my old home. It was all in my bedroom, all in my spare bedroom at home. That's where I was uploading everything. I was doing camera tutorials. I just thought I'm really good at teaching stuff because I was teaching magicians how to do tricks. So I was like, I'll just teach people how to use cameras. And a lot of people thought like, wow, you've got a good knack for this. You're really good at communicating things, making them clear and entertaining to watch. And a lot of the tutorials online and things that you were seeing online were dull, really boring stuff that would just put you to sleep. So I thought, okay, I can come in and add some entertainment value to these styles of videos and actually teach people modern techniques in a modern way from someone who I think is modern, who they would maybe relate to more so than what's out there now. And it worked fast. I uploaded one video. It went viral. I sent it everywhere. I remember emailing it to like Dig.
What was the name of this video?
8 camera hacks in 90 seconds was the first video that popped off.
Sounds good enough to me.
Yeah. It wasn't
with a name like that.
It wasn't even 90 seconds. I'm pretty sure I got the math wrong on that.
Probably why it worked, actually.
Yeah. But that was the first one I did. And it was just some things. I remember I was on a Skype call with Chris. And he was like, you should make the thumbnail holding the knife up to the lens because that'll trigger a lot of people and it'll make them want to click on it. So the thumbnail for that is me holding a knife to the lens, which is like, why would you do that? And I think that spawned a whole series of videos like this, other people holding matches up to lenses and holding things you shouldn't hold up to lenses. And it worked. And it was great. So I kind of got my start doing that. And I was always mixing vlogs in because I wanted to show that personality side as well as didn't want it to all just be behind my set, talking cameras, everything, screen recording, screen capture software. I wanted to show myself as well and show a bit of my life and my interests and the things that I was into and put those techniques to use to show like, yeah, I can do these things too. This is what it would look like. And then I could take tidbits from those videos and teach them. And it would just kind of go back and forth and feed each other.
I mean, there was a moment there as well where it was just the vlog thing was hot as well. I mean, we were talking about Casey prior to shooting. Like when he was doing the everyday thing, and then anybody who was publishing videos on YouTube was noticed because it was like it wasn't just every day; it was every day with the edits and every day with the drone shots, and it was just you're just doing
the time lapse.
You're just doing the math, right? Like, I'm just like, I don't know how many hours you have. Did you find some extra hours, or is there any life left over? Like that's me watching it back then when it was every single day.
I've never been able to do every single day. It's just too much. I was never able to commit to it like he could, and to this day I don't even know how he does it. I don't even think he knows how. He's like, dude, it was a blur.
It was a window, right? It was a window, and I'll probably even himself ask him at some point, but probably even himself, it was like. He probably didn't imagine doing it forever like that. Like some of these
means to an end kind of thing.
Well, but also like some of the most challenging things are temporary. Like you're not. You understand when you're in it that it's not going to be the way it is forever.
And it's always changing. Like we were talking about. Like I don't know how long I love vlogging, but like, I don't know how long I'll do it for. Like when I'm 40 years old, will I still be holding a camera, like walking through Walmart, talking to myself with my kids? I don't know. I don't think so. I like to think that this job allows me, the freedom to progress and try new things and evolve into new styles of content. So,
Yeah, it's interesting as well because, like, ultimately we had to make things on a platform that people want to see.
yeah.
And we can't help but like jump around the platform and see what people are watching. I mean, you can't help not look at that. It's your livelihood. You do your own research. You know what I mean?
Do you ever feel like you're trapped within what you specifically upload? Like, I can only ever unbox things. That's it. Like, if I try anything outside the box, bad pun, it won't work.
I just built a box around myself instead. So I'm
boxes
like,
and boxes.
even if I don't have the box, I'm in the box. So like the box portion is satisfied.
Like there's got like I've seen some of the creative takes on unboxings you've done. Like there's got to be a spark in there that you're just thinking to yourself sometimes.
Listen,
can we do this different?
Listen, man. There's no magic technique. There's no satisfactory way in which you're gonna constantly keep scratching that thing that you're gonna you're gonna go to work sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're gonna go to work.
At the end of the day, it's still a job.
You don't have to really dread that. Like, look, a big part of my experience in this has been the excitement in the ride itself of like watching the whole thing transpire. And certainly you want to put together a cool piece of content, but at the same time, you got your own story going alongside it.
Yeah.
Which is like, in my case, some dude who doesn't know what he's going to do wants to do. Some dude who like has this really bizarre background of experience in 1,000 different things.
Yeah.
That like knows how to put a video online.
Yeah.
And then get on the roller coaster and then start riding. Whee! You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And every so often looking back at the ground you covered.
Yeah.
And like anything beyond that I would tell you would be some sort of a hindsight version of how I got there. I had an interest in technology, which drove the direction to a certain extent. But there's plenty of times along the way where I would say my de facto status on something that I publish is I hate that. I hate that thing. You know what I mean? Like on to the next thing. Like, I don't know. Here's how that thing is screwed up or this thing is. I think I have a healthier relationship with it lately that like that's okay. Like sometimes it's work. And it doesn't mean that you don't want to experiment because I do, but I'm not trying to make everything fit where it doesn't necessarily fit, like that's the thing with channels,
I think I struggle with that.
Channels. Like it's in the name, right? Channel.
Yeah.
I think we should have a healthier relationship with that. Start a channel, kill a channel. Okay, good. I did a project, put it down, pick it up. We're so good at picking it up.
Yeah.
So bad at putting it down.
That voice inflection was just mint. It's like you'd rehearsed.
Remember I told you with the headphones earlier?
Yeah, dude, the headphones are making all the difference. Like, I'm enjoying this.
You gotta be engaged with it. But yeah, it's.
I've always battled that too. I've always thought though, why do I need to start another channel to put something on what I already have that is like my channel is the umbrella that is me. So why can't all the things that I'm interested go under my umbrella on my channel?
What's the name of your channel?
My name, Peter McKinnon. So that goes back to college. I was doing web design, and it was the day where everyone was making their domain names, and
no, I know.
And they were like, "All right, pick your business name," and everyone had these crazy names, Onyx Solutions, all these random things that would probably never last. And I went with Peter McKinnon, like way back. And they were saying, "Why just that?" And I was like, "Well, that can be anything I want it to be. That could be an accountant. That could be a lawyer. That could be a cinematographer. It could be a YouTuber. It'll transcend all of this." So that's why I kind of just think, why can't it just all go on one spot? But
let me tell you something about that though. That's pressure too.
Yeah.
That's you.
Yeah.
What the hell is you?
Oh, man.
You ain't no YouTube
We
channel.
don't have enough time for that.
No, we don't. And so that's the thing. You put the name on it like that. It's like nothing you can publish over there is going to encompass the thing. It's the same as like somebody starts an Instagram account. It's a name. I mean, maybe the public perception is that that is somehow connected to that individual's identity. But it's what percentage getting to know a person? What percentage of Peter McKinnon it exists on youtube.com/Peter McKinnon? What percentage?
Yeah, not even remotely as much as people probably think.
Well, because that's all they have to go on.
Yeah.
But now you're sitting over there.
Yeah.
And maybe if you talk for many hours on end and the person feels like, okay, that's a few more percentage points.
Yeah.
But it's hard to be you when you're the broadcaster.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Because like even this conversation right here, how does that happen on your channel about you? How does it happen on my channel about me?
Yeah. Then you're a narcissist. But I would still try. I would still try to do it. But I think that's where my creative brain and what people expect of me being like the photo video guy. Like I'm the photo video guy.
Mm-hmm.
You're the unboxing guy.
Right.
If you had an episode making a pizza, I would watch you because I'm your friend.
I would say the difference there though is that and I know this, I'm like splitting hairs here, like I don't know, nitpicking or something.
Hit me with it.
But like, I made a decision back when I started my channel that it wasn't going to be my name, for example.
Okay.
And even though it's been the majority of everything that I've done for the last, I don't even want to say, even though that's what it is, it's like if a person approaches me and goes, "You're Unbox Therapy," I'm like, I'm like, that is not the name of a person.
That's funny.
You know, but that's the perception of like an account online.
That's what we're getting from it.
Is that's what it is. And it's like, man, there isn't any regular person that exists in the environment presented there, which is like in the context of the existence of a product and an analysis, and it's not even close to a person. I understand, like, you got to identify things in some way or another, but it didn't feel to me like the project in and of itself felt so outside the realm of a personal identity, or at the time what people had, which were profiles, like on Facebook, like a Facebook profile.
Sure.
Like imagine a regular person's Facebook profile, but this is what they post every time. You're like, easy, bud.
Yeah.
Like, do you ever go on vacation?
Relax. Dude loves tech.
If it was just like, I don't know, your neighbor or your uncle or something, it doesn't seem right. It seemed always more like a show.
Yeah.
So I put the show on it. And then it has its benefits and drawbacks. I think some people don't know how to interact with it in the same way as the person who approaches it goes, "That's who you are. You're Unbox Therapy." But in a way, there's also kind of a safety net there of like, it doesn't have to encompass all the things that I do. And then I can go and start other channels like this one. Even this is not my real name.
Yeah.
Which still there's some safety net there.
Yeah.
That this can still be a performance of some sort. Because it is a performance. You put a performance out, sir.
Of course. Of course.
I guess we do in life as well.
I mean, I would like argue everybody that's on YouTube is performing to some degree.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, and I just want to put a little fairness piece on there. Is like, even in life, we're performing. I mean, you go home, you perform.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Your kid looks at you, you're like, all right, that's the guy.
Let's do this.
Whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't go land, you can't. There's no out on that. Like, we're all living up to whatever standard we set for ourselves. But anyway, getting back to your channel with your name on it, it's good though, in a way, because it does allow for you to do the thing that you're talking about, which is transform it.
Yeah, I have guilt about it. If I think about another channel and uploading content to that channel,
I see.
I just think, why am I doing this? I should be focusing on the main channel that's working, that people like, that they're subscribed to. I shouldn't be spending my time here today, which we all don't have very much of.
Do you mean here, like right here?
No.
Oh.
No.
Oh, okay.
But I shouldn't be spending my time doing...
That's a big waste of time right here.
Willie and I, we talked about that.
I'm sorry.
I've got
I'm
my
sorry.
timer going.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
You know what I mean though? Like I feel like that time should be spent working on the business. This is what works. That's what I go to work. That's like when I go to work, it's this. That's where I'm going. So why would I be uploading to something that has a couple hundred subscribers or a couple thousand and putting all the effort and time? Because I can't do anything half-assed. Like I got to go hard for all things.
I will tell you, there's probably never been a better time in my superficial analysis of what's going on the platform. You know, I got a channel with almost 20 million subscribers.
Yeah,
and you can
absolutely.
I know,
ridiculous.
but you can have videos like struggle to hit the million mark.
Yeah.
As far as interest.
Does that ever throw you?
Well,
someone told me once you should always be hitting 10% of your subscriber base, and I was like, oh, I'm doing real bad then.
No, and I don't think it's any specific number that's necessary. But what I do think is there's just been a transition going on the amount of time that I've been doing this away from the subscription model. And obviously more in favor of the algorithmic model. And there's been all kinds of developments on the platform that have increased the likelihood of new content surfacing as opposed to old content. When I say old content, I mean stuff that you've selected for manually in the form of a subscription, right? I mean, is anecdotal, it's my own experience, but like I recall through various different tracking services that you could like see, for example, how many of your own videos are suggested against your own videos. And I remember an era where like a really high performing channel could have a dozen videos in the suggestion bar next to their own video, an indication that there was some sort of favor for having selected a particular content creator, elevating their content in a multiplier effect greater than the rest of the network. When the home section of the platform continued to get become more comprehensive and suggestion based, so like the subscription feed continued to get pushed to the side, all of a sudden all kinds of people with huge followings had to recompete over again every single time, even to reach the people that were subscribed to them.
Are already subscribed.
Yeah, similar to what was going on other platforms already in advance of that. Now, it's not to say that a subscriber doesn't want to see what you put out, but they probably don't want to see it as bad as they say they do. Because it requires some pretty significant intent right now to go and watch it. And by that, I mean a CTR, a healthy CTR. Just a general intent. Because then that's going to allow the thing to surface for the remainder of people. So like that early test group who's around, they determine whether or not you're going to see a video as a subscriber, not me. Well, me, because I decided on a subject matter, but I even recognize now that distance, the difference between 1 percentage point CTR is significant enough to slump a video hundreds of thousands of views. At least in my case, the multiplier effect of like, I don't know, maybe this is very inside baseball for people right now, but if you are talking about the difference between like a 7% CTR and an 11% CTR, it's like you may have put the same amount of work into the whole project, but you got half the business out of it.
Yeah, that's always discouraging. But it's the game.
But that's why I'm saying when it comes, you can take it two ways. You could take it in such a way of like catastrophe, or you can take it in such a way of like an indication that it's time for experimentation,
adapting,
and
flipping it over,
and not being super committed to the same formula necessarily. Now, granted, if you do the thing that I'm saying, people will be very angry because they'll say, "I'm subscribed to Peter McKinnon."
Yeah, I didn't come here for this.
I know
you've changed
and love Peter McKinnon, and actually. You know what I miss? I miss the old Peter McKinnon.
Yeah. I miss 2017 Peter McKinnon. He was awesome. 2018 was pretty good too.
I guess old habits die hard.
This 2021 Peter, I'm not having it. No.
Brutal.
hanging out with Lou now.
Yeah.
This guy thinks he's a big shot.
Ruined everything.
Hanging out with the big dogs. I see how it is.
Ever since that conversation,
Cool.
downhill.
Must be nice in that big studio.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing how we can write the comments so easily?
Yeah.
They live there.
They're deep inside.
Yeah. What is that thing they say is rent free?
Yeah.
They live in there rent free.
They really do.
Yeah. You're not supposed to read those comments, you know.
I'm 50-50 on it. Sometimes I just get in there because there's some cool people and I like engaging, and sometimes I hop in and I'm like, oh, what have I done? Time to go. Ripcord.
Get me out of here.
Get me out of here.
All right. So,
But I like, I'm down for experimenting and trying new things, and being creative is the entirety of why I got on YouTube. So, yeah.
So as far as your main channel is concerned here, your bread and butter, your baby,
Yeah.
as you call it,
Yep.
what's going on?
I'm really liking longer form content now. I used to kind of just try to, I would say like, let's just bang out a quick video. Let's pick this topic, give some talking points about this, shoot some B-roll, boom, moving on. People love it. But now I'm trying to get a little more thoughtful, a little more creative, not trying to rush to stuff as fast. So like that old truck that you saw, people wanted to see a video about that for weeks and weeks and weeks, but it would be too easy to just get inside, show the interior, talk about why I got it, and move on. I'm like, there's got to be a story. There's got to be a deeper story. I got to spend more time crafting something that will leave people with some sort of lasting impression beyond that of just cool truck, see ya. So that type of mindset moving into the content that I'm doing now is what I'm trying to do. So for instance, on Thursday, like my grandfather used to drive that truck, that same one. So we're driving it up north to find his old shop, to park it in front of, take some photos of it, get them printed, bring them to my grandmother, kind of like craft more of a
Story,
narrative around it than just like, check out my truck, see ya. And I'm trying to apply that to a lot of the videos that I'm making. But it means less videos because everything's taking longer.
What does less mean?
Less videos a week, less videos.
I know, I'm talking about numbers. Like,
oh man. Recently it's been like one
video per week.
One video a week. And that's just to like supplement the 5 or 6 I have that I'm working on that are the longer form ones. So I'm kind of just playing with where I'm the most comfortable and the most happy creating. I don't think I can really handle the 4 videos a week anymore.
Is that
That's around
peak?
what it was. Yeah, the peak was like 3 minimum, 4 max every single week. But I just I've got a different style now. I've got a different like yearning.
Well, I didn't expect to hear that word on here.
In wanting people to experience what I create. So, but that could change because at the same time we got to go to work. And I can't just go to work and sit around and wait for a video for a week, right? Sometimes you just gotta go create. You gotta just make vids.
Make something.
Yeah.
It also, you get into this weird thing where you've had a certain rate of publishing, like a rate of hitting publish. And the whole thing is sort of a game too. It's like a game inside of a game.
Yeah.
It's like there's the art of making the thing, and then there's the art of getting it seen, or the art of analytics, or
the titles and thumbnails is like an entire day. Oh my goodness, bro. I used to like it. And then if something happened, and it's the bane of my existence now. I'm like, what do I must text 15 people. What should is this a good title?
Oh God.
And then I get 100 opinions, all different. And then I choose something and I feel like it's always the wrong choice. I'm like, come on.
You know what? I think that what you're talking about right now can probably be applicable to a lot of people in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
This idea of like a series of possible decisions and none of them are the right decision. Do you know what I mean? Like all of them are maybe slightly better or worse than the other, but you know from the get-go you're doomed.
Yeah.
This is the process of titling and thumbnailing a thing in modern YouTube.
And that's what makes or breaks it, man. And it could be like a "the" in the title, or the one you came up with first 4 hours ago is the one you ended up going with after this big think tank on a whiteboard.
It only gets worse.
I'm just cruising with good words now. Think tank, yearning.
Never mind if you get into the those analysis tools that will look at a headline and give it a score prior to using
What?
it. Yeah, don't.
Well, I've never even heard of
Don't
this.
even bother because
No, we got to go there right now. Explain that.
No, because
Unpack that, please.
the unpacking is it's more of what you just described. It's more doom.
But it'll give you a percent, like that's 80% likely to fail.
It'll give you a number, a score based on a variety of factors, but it turns you into a robot. Like,
Does it ever work? Has it ever worked?
What's it called?
Listen,
I don't even know.
Listen to me.
Shoot me that text
Listen
after.
to me. Listen to me. Nothing works right now. You understand? There is 5, 6, 7% CTR used to work. It doesn't work anymore. Period. That's it. The platform is different now. It's more competitive. Period.
Do you think views are just less all the way around right now?
Not necessarily, right? The platform is just more competitive. So if you're Mr. Beast, no, views are not down because he's competing on every checkbox. Is like from production to proposal to
Ideation.
daily active users. Like things get thrown out that don't hit a particular criteria, and we're just talking about the world's most competitive content marketplace. And there's more players than there ever were. I'm 10 years deep.
Yeah.
I'm 10 years deep. I remember a YouTube where it was like, damn, what am I going to watch? Not a YouTube that was like, you should watch this. You should watch this. You should watch this. Have you watched this yet?
Wow. Yeah. 10 years, man.
10 years. Imagine doing something for 10 years.
I mean, you look good.
I got to be honest with you. This is refreshing over here, though.
Why is that?
Well, because I feel like it's absent of some of the stuff that we were just talking about. Like as far as a title to this, it's going to be your name. I don't even think it's going to be any finesse. I don't think I'm going to put any sauce on that sandwich.
No spice?
Zero.
Zero spice. Love spice. But riddle me this. Would you ever consider like, okay, my audience doesn't know Peter McKinnon? Some of them might. But I mean, you got 20 million people looking for things coming out of boxes. Those people who are watching this channel might not necessarily.
There's not 20 million people on this channel, by the way.
But your fans are coming across.
Yeah, okay.
Right? So you're going to get potentially less views if you lead with my name, I would think, just because people don't really know me over here.
Right.
So would that not...
No, I have high expectations for your name.
Would you not factor that in? Are you putting that in your little online calculator?
No, because what I'm trying to say is like maybe that's the second channel thing to a certain extent. Like him and I were goofing around and
it is what it is.
And we started getting like, we started to post a couple of things that were maybe not us. And then you get a taste for when you're trying to figure out what the reward is, or you're trying to figure out job well done. You know, maybe there's like a dude out there who's into woodworking. Now, I'm not talking about on YouTube. I'm not talking about making content. There's a dude who's a guy, and he's into woodworking just for himself.
All right.
And he's chiseling and he's sanding and he's
planing.
Yes. These things.
Yeah.
Maybe there's even a tongue and groove involved.
Yeah. There's some lacquer going on.
At the end of it, he looks at the thing. He derives tremendous enjoyment from it. He sticks it in his living room. Maybe he smells it every so often. But one thing he doesn't try to do is make 10,000 of them and sell them at the Walmart. Maybe that's not what he decides to do.
What if he's an Etsy shop?
No, he doesn't even do that.
Shopify?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
So he does it for himself.
You know
Does
what?
it for himself.
You know what? He can sell it on Etsy. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine. Like it's one thing that I noticed though
Yeah.
is that like when I started talking on this other channel, it's a smaller community. The conversation was quite a bit different.
Interesting.
Scale seems to play some sort of a role in sentiment.
So
Like if you have millions and millions of subscribers, there seems to be a sort of genericness to it.
will you become like just a brand, less of like a person or just a thing?
Then the number can. You would have situations in life where, some kids would approach you and they'd be like, "Oh, that's Unbox Therapy. He has 15 million subscribers." They would tell their friend.
Yeah.
It's like the number in some way precedes, like the Black Mirror episode or something.
Yeah.
The number precedes, the actual number is some sort of identity check.
I had that experience literally 2 days ago with like a 7-year-old. "Do you have a YouTube channel?" "Yeah." "How many subscribers?" I was like, "I don't know, like 5 million." They're like, "Oh, so you're legit. You're a real channel."
You're
Right.
a real
And I
person.
was like, "Oh, okay.
Right.
Good thing it wasn't less."
But it's like, in some ways, there's a kind of refreshingness to maybe just skewing the metrics ever so much. I'm not saying, I mean, like you said, you got to go to work and you got to put something together that people actually want to see. But like, let's say I put Peter McKinnon over there because I feel like it best represents the thing that I'm doing instead,
Sure.
and take the pressure off the sauce. Maybe just on like a personal psychological health aspect. There's some sort of reward to that I can take the oxygen gained from that post and then bring it to the saucy stuff.
That's deep.
Like
It makes sense.
like a content meditation. Do you know what I mean? And and I should add something to that, which is conversation. Like, even before you got over there, I was like, we should do this segment. We should do that segment. I'm like, bleh.
Yeah.
What if you're just there
Just let it ride.
and I'm just here?
Because this is what would be happening if there were no cameras. We'd probably still be having this conversation. If I just sat down and we were having some water and chatting, this is more than likely what we'd be talking about.
Well, now that you've said that, we can't possibly proceed. It's impossible from there.
Okay, with regards to the platform and things changing and channels, what do you think of shorts? I'm just starting to experiment with them. I made 2. One was here.
I like your short.
Thanks.
I like your short. I watch your short.
Yeah.
He did a short on a Ford Lightning electric truck versus his 44-year-old truck. Beautiful truck. And might be my favorite short
Thank you.
I've ever seen.
Well, I've got another one coming.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
You know what? It's
You know
done
what
for-
actually I really like about this short is where you chose to shoot it.
Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't the fondest of the location. I felt a little claustrophobic shooting it.
You felt like the ceiling should have been
Maybe
a foot
little.
higher.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I felt like it could come down at any moment.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that.
The thing with me and shorts is I feel like it opens up permission to be more creative and try more things with less pressure. Kind of like what we were talking about. It's a bit of like, oh, this could be a little bit of a solution of making some of this content that is unrelated, but it's just short. It's just fast.
Yeah. I'm conflicted on it.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm conflicted on it
Why?
because I don't know why it is. Maybe it's the age of my kids right now, but I get worried about the attention span. Like, I get worried about just the next. Like, I talked to Will about this. You spend an hour on TikTok. Somebody comes to you an hour after and goes, "What were you just watching?"
Yeah, pixels.
I don't know. I was watching my own thumb go up and down the screen. I don't know what I was watching.
Yeah. Endless. Now you see that as a bad thing. That's the way media seems to be moving forward, man.
I don't know if it's even
Less attention, like everything's faster, more convenient. I don't want to sit and watch two guys talk about stuff
It's
for
funny.
20 minutes. I want to laugh
I know.
now. Move
I know.
next.
And I toy with it because I can't help it because I see it. Will do something. He'll show me like a YouTube short. He'll do this to me.
He'll crush you like this?
He'll show me a YouTube short with 186 million views.
Oh, I know.
He'll show that to me.
Well,
And I'll be over here sitting on this chair with this microphone saying, no, man, we're going to be about something else.
Mm-hmm.
Saying, no, you know what? For those that choose to go on the ride, travel a little further, you go with us on this journey.
yeah, no, I like that.
There might be, it might be a different reward. I don't know. I mean, part of it, like I said to you, is some sort of meditation on my own behalf to just remember what it's like to have conversation.
Yeah.
Like you and I, we don't have a phone right now.
Yeah.
Like our thumbs are doing nothing right now.
Just docile.
And maybe it's possible that in that, if there's something rewarding being in that experience of exercising that ancient activity, process, whatever, then maybe there's also something for those that follow along with that and aren't feeling compelled to swipe past it, even though it might not be the same number of people. Like I know people, we tried to do a shorter episode. We did a 15-minute episode, and I swear to God, somebody in the comments said, my 3-year-old normally falls asleep to your voice when you put an hour-long thing out there.
Yeah.
And I said, how do I quantify such a thing? Like, I thought to myself, first of all, I thought, how dare you put that on me?
I'm sorry.
I got kids that won't even fall asleep to my own voice. Let me get one of those.
Yeah.
But no, then second, I was like, that's not a click. That's something different than a click. Like part of it is the economy of it. Is that the way things are presented to you, you and I'm talking, I think the general public probably doesn't pay as much attention as we do to things like views.
Yeah.
But we can't help it because it's the daily. And, but ultimately, like, he can show me 186 million, and I have the same problem that the kid that approaches me and shouts out how many subscribers I have.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, well, how do we do that then?
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, is that really what you prepared to get on that treadmill? I don't know. Maybe everybody has to find their own version of it. But we toyed around. We posted a couple. Most of it is just because on this show, we would be mostly like talking about stories or watching videos and then reacting to it. So it was a couple of short versions of that we started to publish. But I'm split on it. At the same time, I, in my own head, toy with the idea of like the purest thing being just talking to people and publishing that on this channel, and never mind the shorts thing at all. So it's a really conflicting, because I remember even before I started to think about on this channel, it was like with Unbox Therapy, you could totally imagine having short unboxing videos, right? Like you could have a compelling or creative unboxing video in a minute. A minute's a long time. But I'm just not feeling super healthy about it. I don't know what I can say. At the same time, I got to put something on the end of that. I've for a long time had the feeling that, and it's a philosophical conversation, but that to a certain extent, you got to travel to the location of the party instead of always trying to create it yourself. Like you got to go enjoy the party every so often instead of being like an old man or whatever. Be like, no, I got this is the right. This is how you party, kids. You hear that? That's the Rolling Stones right there. You know what I mean? Yeah. So there's an equal part of that, which is like, if nobody hears what you're saying anyways, then a tree falls in the forest, blah, 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 blah. So there is some gamesmanship which comes into it from time to time. So you try to find a balance to it. But honestly, we've been talking for 5 minutes over here. I know it's more than 5 minutes. And for me personally, I don't know if it will translate to people participating in it, but for me, I would take this right now over scrolling my phone.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree.
So what does that say then? What does it say about scrolling the phone? Like, why do we do it? When do we do it? Is it in the absence of opportunity? Or would we seek out more opportunity if we didn't have that glitch, if we didn't have that pause button?
Oh, I don't know the answer.
I mean, you don't want to be looking at your own screen time metrics.
Oh, no, I don't.
But anyway, I think there's probably some sort of mix. There's probably some sort of way to exercise in both areas and try to find a healthy dose of each thing.
Yeah. So if you're not doing them, what's your output? How many videos are you putting out a week?
What, on unbox therapy?
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe like two to three. And then over here, we were on a crazy thing for a bit.
What was it like?
We were on a crazy thing for a bit.
20 videos a day?
Well, because we clipped out, we would clip out each subject.
Yeah.
And then, but we would shoot like whatever was happening in the news around a particular set of interests, which would be like
I remember you guys doing a thing about like the F-150 chips and.
It would be an hour, around an hour, which would then cut down into maybe 15 different segments at each one at a different amount of time, just trying to make it easier to select for what you wanted to watch. And it was a model that existed for long form. It was a way to make long form digestible. Even you might get, you'll get clipped, I guess.
Are we clipping?
Yeah.
You're going to clip.
Oh, baby. We're clipping.
Clip
right up.
Peter McKinnon. How many clips? I don't even know where you would cut.
Well, we haven't even talked about the truck that you had in here yet.
We haven't.
Are we allowed to talk about that?
We are.
People have seen it by now.
On your channel.
On yours?
No.
You haven't even seen it on yours.
Did you post it on IG or anything?
No, man. I didn't. Kirk's still working on it. I mean, this is a serious edit going on, but I don't know. It's going to be.
It's looking, you know what? There's spice on that edit. I'll tell you that much.
There might be.
Yep.
It's probably not a YouTube short. It might be half an hour long.
Yeah, it's definitely not. Yeah, I saw the timeline. It's not a YouTube short.
It might be half an hour long, but it is a cool truck.
I'm excited. I'm excited about it. I'm excited. I mean, we drive the same vehicle.
That's weird too.
Yeah.
And we're wearing similar colors too.
Yeah.
And we're from around the same area. You know, it's kind of terrifying actually.
What do you think?
Oh, the truck?
Yeah.
Yeah. I said in the video, I think it's a really important vehicle, the F-150 electric, the Lightning. I think it's important because it's really a clientele that should be the toughest to flip. Like the truck clientele. How often are you reminded of the massive fuel tank on your F-150?
Yeah.
Like you don't go to the gas station very often.
No, you really don't.
It's quick. It's a quick process to just get fueled up for another, in our case, almost 800 kilometers.
Almost 800? Bro, you got to work on
850?
that. I'm like 890.
Okay, all right, yeah. I think I drive faster than you, apparently.
Dude, I'm a sport motor, nothing.
Oh, really?
It doesn't come out of sport motor.
And you're still getting 890?
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And so that's a tough crowd. It's also a crowd that, the truck crowd is a crowd that really favors reliability, uses these things for work. And
I think they could probably see this as novelty. Not going to work. Gimmick.
oh yeah, and that's the that's the Cybertruck approach. Is like we're going to convince electric car people to get a truck. Ford has a different battle on its hands. Yeah. They got to convince F-150 people to get electric. So it's two different paths towards the same thing.
It's funny because I was talking to someone from Ford about the Lightning, and I was like, "Oh, I got to see it," and they're like, "Looks great. It looks like a truck, doesn't it?" And they were very excited about the fact that it looks like a truck. So that was probably a big big part of that.
Yeah, I was
Flipping that crowd, being like, look, it doesn't look any different. It's going to operate and look the same as what you already know. That's my big deal.
I was thinking about that thing about how you would hear about these tribes where like one dude would decide to get flamboyant or something. He decided to get like too much of an outfit going on. He would decide to get like I don't know, maybe take the feathers to the next level, try to show off or something. And the rest of the group would be like, that's a liability right there. They would decide that wasn't part of the uniform. And of course, there's all other examples of this, like why do people wear suits and ties, or in the military, why do they have a uniform? Things like this. I feel that there's probably like a similar element to that, where the truck is sort of a uniform of a certain, well, I mean, you could put it to a certain occupation, but also just a certain way of being to a certain extent. It's like, it's utility. It's representative of utility as opposed to, although we have pretty superficial trucks, you know that, now that I think about it.
Ours?
If you get a Raptor, then you're kind of playing both sides.
Yeah,
You're kind of got some feathers. You're kind of wearing some feathers.
I don't see many like foremen.
You got an orange one. Your next one is orange.
Yeah. I put the extra feather on the next one. You don't see any like sight supers rolling up in a Raptor.
You better be careful out there on those trails. All those feathers.
You're gonna just wait. I'll bring it over here.
No, I love it. I'm sure. I mean, it's definitely cool, but it's funny. The like fancy truck thing is relatively recent as well. Like the truck that you brought from 77, those are pretty bare bones type deals.
Yep. Now
you got 4 doors and massage seats, and they're basically luxury cars that sort of look a little bit less than they on the outside. They look pretty normal outside the Raptor. Even the Platinum one, they put a few badges and things like that. But the Cybertruck is a whole level of feather commitment that is beyond the scope of the general public, and it's more in the realm of supercar level head turning, maybe even beyond.
Yeah.
And
do you like it? I get asked this all the time because people know how much I love my Ford truck.
Listen, I
get asked this, dude, daily.
So this vehicle looks a lot like the Warthog from Halo, and I played that game as a kid.
Yeah, Master Chief's coming out of that. Cortana is like what makes that run.
So I got a soft spot, you know. I like science fiction. I'm a weird guy.
Here's my thing though, like you're getting all these renders, but like where are the mirrors? Where are the wipers? Are they being omitted? Is that just not something we need anymore?
The dimensions have already changed from the original.
Isn't it made from like steel that's indestructible? Like, look, like, wasn't that part of the presentation? Like, how is that going to be road safe?
It's going to change. But certain aspects, the dimensions, I believe, already changed. Certain things will change a little bit before it hits the streets. But something like that will be on the roads.
I'm excited to see it in real life. I've never seen it in real life. Have you?
No.
I want to see that little quad too.
Quad as well.
This is one of those situations where it's just hard for me not to like it, even though
that's cool.
I have the similar skepticism to you about how it's all going to fit together. Having had a truck and had a truck do truck things for, I guess this is my third right now. You don't want to give up certain utilitarian aspects just because it looks cool. So I would have to really engage with it in practice to see if that was the case or not. But then also just agreeing to get that much attention. It is a funny thing about selecting for a vehicle.
I did go orange.
Well, in your case, you're going to get plenty of attention, but still not Cybertruck attention.
No.
Cybertruck attention is going to be
phones out the window.
Next level attention. I mean, you can't pull up to the parking lot on some sort of covert mission. Just like a jump in and a jump out.
With a little quad in the back.
There's no covert missions over here. So that's not has to be something you're willing to sign up for. But this one, it still seems like it's a bit off. I don't know. I put the payment on it, whatever they wanted, $500. I don't even remember. But yeah, it's just really curious to contrast those two products. There's really such different approaches that it's honestly hard to figure out to put them in the same category, even though they are.
Yeah. Yeah. Lightning versus Cybertruck versus Rivian.
Now, Rivian, you might get Willie Doo's attention.
You're into that?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like their truck.
Rivian, you got Jeff Bezos with a cowboy hat
Yeah.
driving to his spaceship. He's invested heavily in it. And they got, I think they have a pretty nice looking thing. They have some cool features in it too. It's kind of in between the two. It's like
Yeah.
futuristic, but truck. Very expensive though.
Yeah.
$100,000.
Is that starting?
It's a lot of them. I mean, that one's 75 right there, but the starting price is much higher than the other two. So it's fun. It's going to be fun. Like if you click on the blue picture there, Will, and like look at the pass through behind the back seat.
Oh, that's clever.
That's cool,
Haven't
right?
seen that.
Yeah.
Snowboard, skis,
Yeah.
stand up paddle.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. They find ways to get you.
Yeah, that's clever.
They show you something. And if you're a utility junkie, you're
And you're
dead.
like, why didn't I live with like how
You're
how
dead.
have I been like alive this long
You're
without
dead.
the pass through?
Yeah, I was a kid. I was like trying to get I was like for Christmas asking for the Swiss Army knife, you know. Like a guy's got 12 tools in there, you know.
I'm big on knives. In not a creepy way.
Easy.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I've got so this is where the whole second channel thing came from.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait a sec. Do we have a second channel?
I haven't posted to it yet, but it
Oh
exists.
baby, let's bring that puppy up. It all
called-
lives
oh,
on this
you've
second
already got
channel.
it. You've already got it
Oh, yeah.
queued. That's
Done my
my
research.
So this account I created because I'm into kind of like everyday carry stuff, pocket knives, those types of things, coffee, whiskey, this basically lifestyle that you're looking at on the screen. And it just didn't fit that Peter McKinnon brand. So I was like, this needs to go somewhere. And a lot of my friends call me Pirate Pete. So I just started trying to figure out what username worked. Pete's Pirate Life worked. Started posting. No one knew it was me at the start. And that was kind of fun. It was just some random account posting everyday carry stuff with pirate things. And people were on board.
Did you see?
Willie is on board.
No.
I like the style.
No. There's a moment there.
Did I miss like an inflection?
Well, this guy, sometimes he takes it too far with his reactions.
Uh-huh.
And that's
It's
actually,
a subtle one, but you always pick it up.
Are we going to clip that?
it was a key
Probably.
component in here when you said it was originally anonymous. That turned him right on. I just want to make sure that nobody missed that.
Okay, we'll clip that.
Because he's got weird content habits as well.
For sure, yeah. I think we all do to a certain extent.
Well, not like you.
So I started posting. No one knew it was me. I got pretty far before people started putting it together. The hand tattoos really kind of ruined it.
Oh, right.
Cat was out of the bag. Then I partnered with this dude in the States and we started selling products. And now it's
Check out that
it's gone to the-
modeling pose over there.
Oh, I got that dialed, bro.
Look at that with the profile and the
Latitude.
hand on the shoulder as
course.
well.
Hand on the shoulder would just be weird. Yeah, come on, just picture it.
My version would be just empty cans.
So we got, hand forged axes, all kinds of cool accessories.
Let me ask you something.
And this is what the channel was going to be about.
Let me ask you something. Which one is Peter McKinnon?
Which one's more Peter McKinnon?
No. This is a winner take all. One or the other is more representative and
Of what I think it's this. Wow. Yeah. A lot of like my close friends who follow this account, when they see it, they're like, that's just you, man. Like dirt bikes and pocket knives and trucks and snowmobiles and quads and coffee and whiskey and moody lighting and the style of photography is what you've always been into, and shooting in the fall and in the Arctic with these random dudes, and that's very much my style to a T.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
maybe it takes time to get here. Like your original Peter McKinnon channel, you had to go through all that to get here.
It's possible. And you know what the funny thing is right now, I'm enjoying this more.
Well, I can tell.
How can you tell?
Look at this. It's a whole mood over here. I can smell it and taste it.
Yeah. That's a good descriptor.
It's a whole mood
Okay,
over
but
here.
when you look at this and then you look at my main Instagram
Okay,
account,
let's go there. Let's go there, Will. Let's do this right now. No.
This is it.
There's nothing
Here we
going-
are.
There's nothing going on over here.
It's-
This looks like a YouTuber right here.
This is fascinating for me. No, like what can you like? What are you tasting and smelling over here?
No. I mean, it's
It's got some of the same mood, but it doesn't
Yeah.
have that rustic.
they're not completely separate. Obviously, there's going to be some crossover. And Instagram's a weird place because I can tell that you put a lot of energy into what's going on Instagram.
A lot.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's not really a fair comparison, but I was actually going more based on the way that you set it up.
Okay.
The way you were describing the new project as I was also looking at it, I was
Okay.
like, oh, this guy's into this.
Yeah.
This guy's not into that other thing, that other channel.
Interesting.
Like he's into this. No, because I experienced the same thing where it's hard to be into all the different things to the same degree.
And it comes and goes, right? There are times where I'm tired of this for a few weeks and I don't post anything or I don't really have any activity. Then I come back to it. I'm like, oh yeah, this is sick. And it's the same with photography and video. You know, sometimes depending on the project, if I come here and get a bunch of cool shots of the truck and I'm like, oh, I'm pumped up on photography again. And how can I work it into the grid? And how can I make sure it works? And I have like 3 or 4 different test accounts that I post everything to first. And then we do what we call grid tests. And I screenshot those and send them to my friends to see what they think flows the best for the next 10 photos moving forward. And I liked, this better than that. And then I'm really into it. But it's just a kind of an ebb and flow.
Yeah, it's I don't know what struck me about it was the fact that your first project on the internet in the world is your name, and then your second project is an alias.
Mm-hmm.
The project which may reflect more personally.
Yeah.
It's interesting how these things transpire.
That is interesting, isn't it?
That you might think it could go in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
There was early days of social media. People were very careful about their identity, and there was a lot of anonymity, which is the thing that made Will smirk and get turned on.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when face reveal videos were a thing because everyone was shooting videos but not showing
Face
themselves.
reveals. Forgot about that.
And it's interesting that your progression took you to a slightly more anonymous place in name and in even revealing who was responsible initially. And yet,
It would have been even more anonymous had the original usernames been available.
go ahead.
Like I wouldn't have gone with Pete's Pirate Life. I probably would have just had something to do with Pirate Life that was easier to not attach to somebody.
You would have preferred for it to be even more anonymous.
Yeah.
You see that? How you're trying to escape?
Yeah, I feel like I'm learning a lot about myself in this podcast.
You're trying to escape what you built, right?
Yeah.
Because that you built your own prison and you're trying to escape it.
I've heard it put that way before.
No, we all do. I'm not. This ain't not. We all do.
No. It is what it is.
We all do. And it sounds like a really negative way to.
I've even crafted my final video. If I could ever have the last video I ever post, I know it would be sick.
Wow.
It would be sick. I would love, and it stemmed from something. We were in New York shooting a project once for this company I was working for, and everybody was walking like a couple feet ahead of me, and I got a phone call, so I hung back a little bit, and they didn't even bother to stop to look to see if I was still behind them. They just kept going, and at this point, they were like blocks ahead. And I had the thought for a moment, like if I just went back to the hotel now, packed all my stuff, made my bed, because that's what's really weird about the whole thing, packed all my stuff, made the bed, left. When these guys came back, they would find a made bed, which would freak them right out. All Pete's stuff would be gone. And then I would change my number, delete everything, and they would just never hear from me, see me, or know what happened ever again. They'd be like, he was behind us, and then he was like he never existed. And I thought, wouldn't like the final video for someone whose whole business is online and public and internet to be erasing my entire digital footprint? How would I do that? Like partner with governments and crazy companies that would be able to pull that off, and the whole video would be a documentary about deleting myself, and I would have to like host it somewhere else because it wouldn't be on my channel, and that would be the last thing you see from me, and everything else would be removed except for that. Be sick.
Be kind of bittersweet.
Yeah, I just thought that would be interesting. I don't know that I'll ever do it. I don't think it's even possible, but it was just a cool thought. I've always kind of
I like that thought.
come back to that. Yeah.
I like that thought. It's one thing about being in control of like your business being you. I think it's healthy to remember that you can also turn it off.
Yeah. That's what's cool.
It's just like a moment in time.
And
Done.
I know I play with the exact same thoughts.
Yeah.
Like when a delete button starts feeling attractive.
Yeah.
Delete.
Didn't Markiplier delete his whole channel?
Did he?
He's like, when it gets to, what was it? You should look that up. There was a second channel. It wasn't his, but he had a second channel.
Yeah. I was called.
And when it got to a certain number, he's like, it's gone.
Annis.
And he did it.
Yeah.
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 Love that.
It was for a year. The idea, the concept was this. I think that's healthy psychologically.
Well, you said that at the very beginning. Deleting channels, starting channels should just be more of not a huge thing.
Willie Doo just mistyped the thing, and well, take it easy, be careful over there. It would be nice. I think it could be a really healthy landscape for experimentation if there were, and it's mostly our own faults in that, like, we are the strictest prison guards.
I often say that.
Like, talk about the prison from before.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus, why
do I do this to myself?
why do they strangle ourselves all the time?
I tell everybody I worked my whole life to get away from like working for a boss.
And you're the worst boss
and I'm
you
the
could
worst
ever
boss
have.
to myself than I've ever had.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. And so I think that's a big thing that keeps us from like just treating the whole thing a little bit more loosely. And certainly in the early days, it was by nature that way because the foundation wasn't so robust. And so it was more attractive or reasonable to approach things in that fashion. And so there's a whole like untangling effect that it was probably not exclusive to us. It's just anything that you do for a certain amount. You get people who have do startup businesses and then they sell it and then they go do
another one.
Like that feels
Once that's gone, sell it, move on.
That feels
It's exciting.
What's
that life all about?
We get to do that again. We get to start off. But your channel's Peter McKinnon.
And your unbox therapy.
You see, but I'm feeling like maybe. Is it possible? Let me ask you this.
Sure. Hit me.
Could Unbox Therapy have a different host?
No.
Same question for Willie Doo.
No, I don't think so. When I hear Unbox Therapy, I think of your mannerisms and all like the little things you do when
you guys are crazy, man. Unbox Therapy could have another host.
No.
Yes.
No, I don't think so.
Absolutely. I'll just be sitting over here on the leather couch.
No one would do it like you do it.
Well, maybe it would
That's what people look forward to. When you're looking at something, you're like,
It could be something different. I'm not saying it would be exactly the same.
Why don't they put it in the box? It should be in the box. Just saying.
Yeah.
Put it in the box.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just terrified of this thing where it's you're standing at a concert and everybody is demanding that the band play a song that they made 20 years ago.
So I'm doing a documentary on a band called Angels and Airwaves. And the guitarist, you'll know Tom DeLonge from Blink-182.
Yeah.
The guy who Aliens and
yeah, Aliens.
So I'm making this film about these guys, and it's been going on forever, just because the pandemic put a big hold on it. But one of the things he said during the interviews that we were doing was, "I've worked my whole life to to just be Tom DeLonge and not
Yeah.
Tom from Blink. And it's exactly that. He's like, I don't want to stand on. I love those songs we made in the '90s, but I don't want to stand on stage and sing "What's My Age Again" every day. Like there's more to it than that. There's other things I want to explore. I want to write books and write films and play different styles of music and find aliens and do all these things with the government and make new companies. Like I don't want to just be Tom from Blink who's running around naked with a guitar. And he's like, and I still love that stuff and it should still be celebrated and it's rad and I get it. He's like, but there's just more to it than that. And
Yeah.
he's like, I've fought my whole life to become just Tom DeLonge.
Maybe that's the difference between making something and consuming something. Like, because you just, in his case, described something similar to what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like when you make something, you immediately start thinking about the next thing you want to make.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really, in many cases, you might not like the thing you made as much as other people do.
Yeah.
They may like it more than you do. And so because of that, part of that process is like putting things down or wishing that you could, because the motivation to create the next thing requires you to not be fulfilled with the last thing.
Yeah, that makes
You kind
sense.
of have to push the last thing away in order to create space for the next thing, even if it's on a specific channel.
That reminds me of, when Casey stopped vlogging, he used the analogy of swinging through a jungle on vines. And he's like, and to get to the next thing, I have to let go of the vine I was swinging on to get to the next one, or I won't get further ahead
Right.
to where I want to go.
Yeah.
So it kind of reminds me of that, just like letting go of the thing.
Being a requirement. But then as a content consumer, you're kind of experiencing the thing from a different perspective. You're experiencing the thing in a more, first of all, faster. You spend less time with it because the finished product is often far less time consuming than the creation of the thing.
Yep.
And you're bringing your appreciation to it, and you're assuming that the person who made it has the same level of appreciation for it. And so when you're clamoring in the crowd to play the thing, you can't understand what the problem is.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't you love it as much as I did?
Yeah.
And maybe the answer is no.
Yeah.
Maybe you never did love it as much as if you were completely disconnected from it and you could have experienced it minus the process of making something, burying something, and making something else.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just wondering what it is about this trend that like a lot of people that I know that make things and publish things are often their biggest critics. They're the least likely to go rewatch something they did.
I always talk. I know I'm good at what I do, but I don't really like anything that I do or anything that I make because I always just see it for what it could have been or could be in the future. So yes, I know I can make decent videos and I've made great videos, but I still just see them as things that I did wrong that I could do better in the future.
And that makes sense in my head.
And like that's all I see them as.
It makes sense because if your goal is progression and improvement, then how do you do that without failure? Mm-hmm. If everything you made is amazing and the best ever, like where do you go from there?
And that comes right back down to it. Sometimes it's a job. I was saying I want to make these long form films, right? I want to make everything more dramatic and thought provoking. But if you did that over and over and over, then that's the new bar. That becomes boring for you and probably your audience. And you need to have the mix. You need to have the mix of, ones you like, ones you don't like, some that people like, some that aren't better.
What happened with your hand?
Broke all my fingers. Straight in half.
Seemed like a bad idea.
I wasn't planning on it. Yeah, I was driving a side by side, and dude, I wasn't even going fast. was going 40, and then I brought it down because we got into some woods, and I brought it down to like 20 kilometers an hour. I think the suspension was too high on the front, took a little bit of a right turn, went up on 2 wheels. And the one thing they tell you, the one thing when you're driving a UTV or a side-by-side or anything like that is keep your arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times. The roll cage will protect you.
Sounds like a good idea.
It's a great idea. Highly recommend it. I did not do that. The ground was coming kind of slowly because it tipped rather slow. It didn't happen fast. So I had time to process like, oh, I'm tipping. It's happening. Oh, there's the ground coming faster. Oh, don't. So I stuck my hand out and the frame came down on top of my fingers on impact. And I was able to pull them out fast. And I think if it was concrete, they'd be gone.
Gone.
Yeah, a friend of mine, his son stuck his arm out and lost his arm.
Good Lord.
Just gone. So I took my glove off. I was bending them. I was like, oh, it seems fine. Put some ice on them. They were a bit bruised up. And my wife was like, you should probably go to the hospital. I was like, yeah, I think I'm good. Maybe an hour after that, the pain was about 12 out of 10. I was like, I'm going to go. And they did a quick x-ray. And we're like, yeah, you broke all of them. All of them in half.
So would you say that's your, I assume this is the case, but maybe not. Is this your worst injury while filming a video?
Yeah. Yeah, then the fire department had to come and cut my ring off.
Oh.
They couldn't get it off. This probably hurt more than actually breaking them. They had to wrap a shoelace around the ring finger to compress the swelling so that then they could tuck the shoelace back under the ring, and then pulling the shoelace would effectively remove the ring with the shoelace as it uncoiled. And it was awful. He got to the knuckle and he was just like, yeah, it's not going to go. I was like, I was telling you that, dude. I've been telling you. Can I please get some Tylenol 3? Yeah, and they just got some garden clippers and jaws of life that thing right off.
Yeah. Are you 100% now?
No, so I can bend this way, and then these I can bend to there. That's it. But flexibility is pretty good, but I have zero strength. Like I could not open a door with this. I couldn't flick a lighter. I can't hold a pen. I have zero, almost like motor skills with this hand right now. So.
I don't think I've ever, as far as video making is concerned, been in a scenario of anywhere similar type of. Oh, wait a sec.
But I wasn't filming something. I was.
You
my
weren't.
GoPro was just rolling because I always roll when I'm riding.
Oh, because
any kind of power
I was
sports.
watching this video here, and it seemed like maybe it was going to be part of a video.
No, it was just vlog. It was just GoPro footage of this run I was doing. I was trying to see how fast I could do it in. I'm sure if it was epic, I probably would have come back there and made something out of it. But if I'm ever on a quad or a Sea-Doo in a really cool place or anything like that, I'm usually rolling some kind of action cam. Just for moments like these specifically.
That constitutes action.
Yeah.
That is certainly action.
I'm curious about your tattoos. Are you going to get them?
First call I made after that happened, I looked at my hand, I picked up my phone, called my tattoo artist, sent him a photo. I'm like, hey, these might be broken, but do those letters need to be hit again?
Yeah.
He's like, looks pretty good, man.
Okay.
And he was like, did you get the lion? I was like, no, lion's safe. He's like, oh, thank God. We just done it like 2 weeks before it was still healing. So he's like, don't tell me you just destroyed the top of your hand.
Wow.
Yeah.
You got into an accident, right?
Did I? I was just trying to think about it when I was.
When did that happen?
I don't know.
It was that bad.
No, that's not real. That's not real.
What do you mean?
Like I wasn't actually injured. On that electric skateboard.
I mean, there was blood.
Oh yeah, I didn't break anything.
You didn't break anything.
No, most of my injuries are from hockey. I had a couple concussions. This one tooth knocked out.
Collarbone?
No, collarbone.
That's a common one.
Collarbone's fine. Tore
head first into the boards.
Two separate knee injuries. Tore things. It's a tough one, but I guess injury. I mean, it's part of it. This is what Will is referencing. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's you can't compare. Like, what are you crazy?
That's actually the first time I think I realized. Wait a minute.
It's the guy. You know what it was actually?
Was it this person?
No, actually, I guess it wasn't. It was right there. It was whatever that bump was.
Oh, that looks like a one-wheel bale. Been there.
If I think it would actually be worse if, like, what year was that? It's 2017. So I missed
2017, Lou.
Wow. You know what? So do I. Where is he?
Bring back the glasses, man. It's throwing me off.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say that if 2021 Lou took the same spill, then I would probably have a broken hand.
Yeah.
The rate at which my body is breaking down, rapidly increasing.
Yeah.
So I think I had the benefit of some degree of youth on that particular spill.
I preemptively, I just sold my motorcycle. I was learning how to ride.
Preemptive of what?
Of dying.
That's one way to describe it.
I've always been kind of sketched out with them, thinking like, there's of all the things I do, this is the greatest risk. But I just need to learn. It's because I feel that risk because I'm not educated. I'm not comfortable. There's no seat time on it. So that needs to come first. But after the fingers, I looked at all the things and I was like,
wow.
I risk it on a lot of occasions, on a lot of different vehicles. And I think this could just be one that I don't risk it on. And when you have kids, it all comes in perspective differently.
Kids make it all different.
Yeah. I'm riding a Sea-Doo on the lake. If I fall off, most cases, I'm going to be okay. A quad, I'm getting stuck in mud. I'm not ripping low and slow. Motorcycle? Oh, man.
High likelihood of serious injury.
I was reading a comment section on a motorcycle video like 3 weeks ago.
Uh-oh.
And everyone was just hopping in about all their injuries.
Yeah.
Talking about, you can't pick up chicks on a motorcycle. And the guy was like, on the contrary, I picked up quite a few on in the emerge when they were rebuilding my legs. And the guy's like, oh yeah, when I had my traumatic brain injury and they were teaching me how to eat food again, I met a lot of women.
Yeah.
I was just reading those comments thinking,
well, everybody knows somebody who's taking a spill on a motorcycle and then took that into account, like cousins.
My cousin's a paramedic.
Oh, or that
So
side
he's
of
like,
it.
oh, I've seen, he's like, had a rough one today. And I'm like, ooh, what happened? He's like, bike. I was like, don't tell me that.
Yeah.
Save that one.
Well, it's a metal problem. Your body versus metal. Like another,
asphalt.
These materials.
I guess you could against a truck or another vehicle.
Yeah, well, like a friend of mine sort of T-boned the side of a car on a motorcycle, went flying over the top of it. It's, your body.
Is he okay?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's good.
Well, I mean, he's alive, but he's missing some parts.
Oh, okay.
But, again.
Yeah, well,
experience.
We all make choices.
I heard a quote. Experience is what happens when things don't go according to plan. Experience is what happens when you lose. Whoa. I don't even know if that's what it was, but I think it's kind of like
Will's like, I don't know where to go with this one. I think
it's along the lines of like that pain teaches.
Yeah.
Better than any instruction.
Well, you know what though? Like, there's the voice in your head. There's always the voice, and some people don't have it. Those people are going down the 401 wheeling, a supermoto shirtless, and those people are.
That was 2017,
and
Peter.
that's on TikTok. Yeah, it's 2017, Peter. Those guys are on TikTok.
Right.
But the voice in your head is always, I'm going a little too fast. This is a little sketchy. It's starting to rain. I should probably tone it down. Those types of things. But every now and then it fades a little bit. I'm in the side-by-side. There's a camera rolling. I'm going a little faster than I typically would because I want the footage to look good. So a little arrogance came into play there. Camera, that voice in my head faded a little bit. Results in broken fingers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not prepared for that voice to fade on a motorcycle. Because I'll have a lot more potentially than broken fingers. So
yeah.
And I want to come back to the podcast. So, it had to.
Oh, right. We got this.
You're looking for a new host.
We have the seat for you now, and there's a microphone there. And how do you feel about the positioning here?
I haven't even had to move or adjust. It's been great.
Really?
Super comfortable. I don't know how long has passed. No idea.
I don't even know if you should get an update right now. Go ahead. All right,
I'm
give
sure
us an
the
update.
sun's
Will.
gone.
It's about an hour 30.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's not really that crazy
That's
No,
good.
It's a
That's healthy.
conversation.
for not budging. I've been a little more squirmy.
In the last 30 minutes, I would say you've moved a lot.
Well, you know what else there is like this chair has some space in it. And sometimes I feel I got to go explore what's over
Yeah.
there on the other side.
Yeah.
Remember we were talking about the voice in the head thing? I was feeling it here.
feeling it, yeah.
But I was like, I got to go explore the other side. It
Yeah,
was very
BRB.
not a huge risk unlike the motorcycle concept. This was a safe one to travel over there a little bit and then come back.
But the mic is in a great place.
Okay.
It's all cozy. I like that I can see what's going on. It's a good vantage for me.
Yeah, there's a lot of screens here.
As a guest, it's a good vantage. I can communicate with you. I can see what you're doing. I can see the wide. I got my grid here.
Yeah.
This is good feedback.
Yeah.
What-
I'm liking it.
What is the criticism?
It would be hard to access my water.
Wow.
A little bit of a stretch.
Tough on
Yeah,
the
it's a reach.
shoulder.
That's all. Maybe if there was
Tough on the shoulder.
I'd like to put something somewhere, or I do feel if I had to sit up, I would be worried that the angle may no longer be
No,
framed
you're good.
correctly.
Well, that's like
You're
your
good.
I'm
your
good?
YouTube. That's your camera guy thing
Yeah.
going on.
yeah.
I'm looking more for the wood and the knife and the I'm looking for that guy. What is that? Whiskey over there? Is that
Pirate
beer? Yeah, where's that guy?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know.
You know, I do.
I'd like to meet him someday.
Let's go. Let's go rip, man. You'll see 2017 Pete.
What's the best thing about Peter McKinnon and what's the worst thing about Peter McKinnon?
This is like a job interview,
That's right.
you know?
I mean, you should have
But
known.
they're like, what's your worst attribute?
You should have known
And the people
what-
are like, I try too hard.
You should have known what you signed up for when you took that seat.
Yeah.
I go through this every single day.
Yeah. The best thing about Peter McKinnon.
Yeah, go ahead.
It just in entirety. That's a messed up question, bro. Like you gotta break that down. You gotta compartmentalize that.
I just want to
with
see how you
regards
interpret
to-
it. By the way, you can throw it back at me if you want, if it makes you feel better. But
You have to.
but I think it would be interesting to see how you perceive that question.
I have a hard time differentiating from the entirety of my being.
Wait, you
or-
went to the worst thing?
or no best,
Oh,
or with regards to my profession.
I thought they were one and the same. I thought it was youtube.com/Peter McKinnon.
I'm not real. Dude, I don't know. That's gnarly.
That's why. I mean, this
one of those
is
things where you just-
content.
That's
This-
one of those things where you just get stopped and you just don't even know what to do with it. I got hit with one of those the other day.
Yeah.
I got hit with a haunting quote that bothers me. My wife's like, please stop reminding me of that. This dude commented, what if the shirt you're going to die in is already hanging in your closet?
Oh,
And I was like, oh, I don't like that.
Mm.
But
Well,
you could look at it two ways.
That's like
Yeah.
the thing. I remember I was getting that genetic testing, like 23andMe, and my wife was like, "Well, what if you have like a trait that indicates that you're going to die of some illness soon?" And then the philosophical conversation comes up of, like, would you want to know if you had a finite
Yeah.
number
That's-
of days?
It's going to change the
Because I
the
feel like that's
trajectory.
a similar area.
Yeah. You could look at it as
So-
a positive or a negative.
So, would you want to know? Would you want to know when you're going to die?
No,
What if it was really soon?
I'm good. If it's soon, then I'll find out soon.
No, but it's not so much about finding out. It's about what you would do in the days leading up to it.
No. No, I'm good.
What if there was something you could do to change that reality?
Yeah, that gets messy, man.
All
It's
right.
not that easy.
Oh wow! All right, we're hitting a nerve here. There's a few consecutive
no.
questions that have been unacceptable. Don't you dare
Hard questions.
bring that.
Okay, I don't want to. I don't
trash
want to
me.
deflect. I don't want to deflect. But
Okay.
the worst and the
That's
best
good.
thing.
That's good.
You go first.
The worst, or I'll start with the best. I would say the best would be consistency, persistence, something like that.
Okay.
keep hammering just keep coming back. Like, is that guy again?
Mm-hmm.
God damn, are we done with him yet?
Okay.
Is that guy still there?
Yeah.
Him? Like that part of it, that like I feel like I can get punched a lot. I'm not talking about physically, but like get punched a lot and keep coming back. So like almost or I suppose I'm not going to do that thing of flipping that into the worst thing, but it can be unhealthy as well.
It could be.
To submit yourself to the punishment of that. And
that could be A and B.
And no, I'm not going to do the A and B thing because it's a cop out.
It would be sufficient.
I'm going to do the A and B thing.
All right. Give me the worst.
The worst aspect, I think, would be saying yes too frequently.
I'd say one of the worst things is
that fair? Wait, that might be a cop out too.
No. I've got one similar to that.
Let's not both cop out.
No, this isn't a cop out.
Let's not both cop out.
I got one. Stagnance for me would be one of the worst. I sometimes just I have a bad habit, and it would be one of the worst traits because it bleeds into lots of things of just avoiding and letting things not saying yes to everything, but just not saying anything, but
I
not
do that
giving
too.
the answer.
I do that too.
And then just not addressing, sweeping things under the rug. I'll do it tomorrow.
Is that procrastination? Is that what it
all kind of wraps into that? That was probably one of the worst things about me. Like how long did it take us to do this podcast?
Procrastination is bad, but it might just be a consequence of doing a lot of things.
I struggle with it a lot.
So I'm not sure if it's a cop out or not. And I'm not sure if we both just copped out because I feel like we can be nastier to ourselves.
We did talk about that.
Than that. Like I'm like, oh, I can take all this punishment. I'm like, I say yes too much.
Yeah.
I'm very upset that was my answer.
Can't go back.
I can't go back?
You're done. You answered.
Oh.
Yeah, you're done, bro.
God,
you're done, bro.
Really?
No, this isn't.
All right, fine. I'll think of something before some next conversation to hate myself more. I'll figure something out. I promise I can do better. I promise I can do better than that.
Okay.
Than whatever the hell I answered there.
I would say the best thing for me might be kind of, what would you call it? It's just like a constant high of like good energy.
Oh.
I'm always pumped and
let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I'm always that guy.
Yeah.
A lot of people see it online and they go, that's got to be he's not like that in real life. I'm like, no, I am. Like let's go. I'm like that in real life.
You're a let's go guy.
I'm hyper.
Yeah.
And I like to bring that to wherever I'm going, infuse it into other people, scenarios.
I can attest to that. Attest to that. And I'll take it a step further.
Okay.
I think that thing is actually in short supply right now. Oh. And I think you can do whatever you want with it.
Okay.
Yeah, how about that?
Okay, thank you.
You don't, it doesn't have to be youtube.com/Peter McKinnon. It doesn't have to be Pete's Pirate Life.
Yeah.
Actually, that thing right there goes everywhere.
It does.
I think it's a great starting ingredient for almost all things. In the mixing bowl. It's you put that in the mixing bowl and it's hard to go wrong.
It's the starter for the bread.
My kids were baking cookies last night. So
nice.
They took a Lindt dark chocolate for the chocolate chip cookies and they broke it up, and it was actually you can buy a Lindt dark chocolate which is salted.
I'm not a dark chocolate guy.
That doesn't even make sense. You claim to like coffee? That doesn't even make sense.
You love coffee.
These are the flavors. These are the bitter flavors that we're looking for.
Yeah. No, I'm not looking for those flavors.
Anyway, they put salt in it. That was a thing.
That probably tastes great.
They put salt.
How much?
Salt? No. I'm saying Lindt puts salt in the chocolate. It's a salted chocolate. I don't know if you've experienced or seen something like this. Okay.
Fantastic.
So then you take the salted chocolate, you break it up into pieces, you put it into the chocolate chip cookie. It's a great place to go.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the one. Sea salt inside the chocolate.
Oh, yep. Shoppers Drug Mart right there, bro.
It's a whole time.
They got a whole aisle for those.
Yeah. That's a whole time right there.
I could eat one of those little thin rectangles.
It's the
in
shape.
like 2 bites, bro.
You ever
Yeah,
get into
It's
food?
great.
Yeah.
You got into it.
Yeah, I love, yeah.
To what extent?
Well, my wife and I started another secret Instagram account taking pictures of food.
You got a weird Instagram thing going on. You know that?
I just love taking photos, man.
Is it a secret?
It's gone now. It was.
Oh, okay.
But I just love taking photos.
Wait a second.
And I love
Wait
taking
a
photos of food.
Can we slow down here? You're throwing a lot out there.
Also, one of my best friends is an award-winning best-selling chef. So
Oh, yeah.
You're throwing a
throw that out
lot
there,
of things.
too.
You're just throwing these things.
yeah, like fireworks, man.
It's
Before they
going-
dissipate in the air, you got to grab them
You're
for the next one.
throwing the things out. Okay, first of all, you had an Instagram account which is now gone. Why does it have to be gone?
It was just too many things. We had kids, and then we couldn't find time to cook and photograph all that stuff, and it just wasn't a priority.
Those
for
are
us.
wild, aren't they?
Yeah, they can be.
Those kids.
That's actually when it stopped, because it was just like, hey babe, can you make something epic and I can take photos of it? No. It's like, oh, okay.
There it is.
That was fun. That was fun.
Is this a metaphor for the entire relationship?
No, not at all. No. I had the easy job, man. She would do all the prep, all the cooking, style it, garnish it, and then she'd be like, it's done. I'd be like,
I'm joking.
see ya.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
I'm having fun here.
Yeah.
I'm just joking.
It was, yeah, she's a
But
great,
why did you feel
great cook.
why did you feel the need to delete it though? I
No, I'll tell you. So it turned into kind of, we stopped doing photos of food and started doing more like home decor stuff and lifestyle images and interior design, stuff like that. So less and less food. And then it just became more of her thing. She's an interior designer. So it just kind of didn't have a place anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's all.
So the account didn't get deleted, it just transitioned into something
changed into
else.
something else,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, no, the reason I was asking you is because I like food.
I like food
I
and I
eat
like...
it. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No. I'm saying that like the long lost project that hasn't happened yet, I would love to do something in food, but I don't necessarily want to make the food. I just want to eat the food.
I would watch that.
That's all I want to do.
Yeah.
Just want to get the food, eat
I would-
the food,
I would
talk
love-
about the food.
I would love to be like the co-host of a show like that, you know,
Okay.
like Jimmy Fallon, like looking over at, you know, the Roots and being like, just those confirmatory responses and remarks.
Oh, nice.
I would like to be that guy for your show.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just, it's sort of similar to what, like from a formatting perspective
Yeah.
to technology products, but actually the reaction is stronger. There'll be times where I would eat something and I'd be like, listen, we're going to need to take a minute here and talk about this.
Yeah.
What just happened to me? We're going to have to discuss that.
Are we starting another channel?
Oh man, I'm starting 300 different channels. You see, this is the problem right here. And then we're saying like, oh, the worst thing about me is I'm saying yes, I'm doing it. Oh man. But yeah, no, food is one that food's really cool. But there's also so many great channels, food related channels that are out there.
I think what makes
look
this
at
cool though.
This dude just made a 6-hour double cheeseburger. You know what I'm saying? Like Willie Dude just had to open the main page.
But I think what makes it fun is that people, they like your reaction and personality to sort of see that applied to something like this. There's got a lot of potential for that and reaction specifically. When you go off on something, it's a good time.
Yeah. I mean, that might ignite, that might light a little flame right there. If all of a sudden I hit some,
72-hour beef Wellington.
Yeah, if I ate the beef, it's a crossover collab, me and Alvin, and he FedEx overnights the 72 hour.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
I'll snap the photos.
It's not gonna happen. You ever think like sometimes it's more fun to think of channels and videos than it is to actually make them?
Yeah.
Because then they remain
kind of like that fantasy, like, oh, that'd be cool.
That'd be cool.
The fun part of it never becomes unfun. And the work goes into it, and then, all the logistics of actually making it happen can sometimes take away.
Were you always like this?
What?
Like, were you always motivated, or was there a point in time where you were really like couldn't figure out what you were going to do next? What did you have a stage in life at a particular age where you weren't doing much, or were you always rapid fire
I was always pretty rapid
working?
fire. Dude, I had my first job was for the Garden Brothers Circus, washing the elephants and selling snow cones. I'd ride my bike there.
I feel like I've been to that circus.
You probably have.
Right.
The entertainment giant.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
And what
it
age
was-
would that have been?
I wasn't even out of public school.
Wow.
Might have been grade 7.
That sounds way more exciting than
I'm pretty sure it's
delivering newspapers.
Pretty sure that's illegal, but
Oh, right.
yeah.
Not back then.
How can they
How
pay
old are you?
Can they pay you when you're that small?
I'm guessing it's cash too, right?
They
Oh
gave
yeah.
you,
Yeah.
Oh,
they
yeah.
gave you free tickets to come to the circus whenever you like.
Yeah. I saw that show so many times. It was great though. I've always been like that. And then getting right into the magic industry and doing shows and walking into like a corporate event, and your job was to make everybody like you and be on and give that performance, you know, doing stand-up shows, stand-up comedy, doing stuff like that. That whole entertainment world was half my life. It's always kind of just been go, go, go.
You were doing stand-up?
Yeah, I opened for a friend of mine. I was horrible. I just wanted to see what it was like. I was like, can I do like 10 weeks of stand-up before your show opens? And he's like, sure.
Did you just say 10 weeks?
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like an experiment. Like maybe
I
one time.
I knew I wouldn't be able to get it done in one shot. And I needed some time to try different things. So I did
Wait a
10
second.
weeks.
Were you doing stand-up, or were you doing magic?
I was doing stand-up. He was doing magic. I just opened for him.
Whoa.
Just trying to figure it out. Some days I'd plan things. Some days I'm like, I'm not going to plan anything. I'm just going to show up and see what happens. And then one night something would go great, and I'd apply that to the next night. Nothing. That's like fascinating. Started reading some books on comedy, and then quickly realized this is an avenue that requires a lifetime of skill, or a very, very, someone who's just
A lot of discipline.
naturally funny.
Oh, right. Or
and
that.
you're just meant for this.
Sure.
I was like, this isn't something I'm just going to read in a book and be able to do. But yeah, I've always been in that entertainment field. So go, go, go for the most part. Always had different ideas of how I wanted to make money. I knew that the ultimate goal was not have a boss.
What age did you realize that?
Almost immediately. I went through so many jobs just to be stepping stones to get to where I am now. Like every type of retail job, every type of restaurant job, every type of landscaping job, just like a means to continue supporting my passions and do what I want to do. And then it got lucrative. Then I got into,
Yeah.
stock photos and running into model homes, snapping photos and then selling those online and buying my first car.
Well, and that makes me think about YouTube, how YouTube really changed things as far as social media was concerned by connecting some economy to it.
Yeah.
Like by integrating that partner program to it. Because when I started on YouTube, like I said, 10 years, there was actually no way to make money.
Oh yeah.
Like
Didn't exist.
It was
10
like
years,
it was like a lot of other social media where the feeling was that if you could cultivate a following, then opportunities would arise. But there was like no baked in consistency to something like AdSense, right? There was no model for that. And then when the partnership program started rolling out, like I won't forget the moment when like my channel became real, accepted to that program, at which point it's like, okay, this is a job now.
Oh, this is real now. This is real life.
Like you could say, and it would probably be funny to look at what stage the channel may have been at that moment.
Yeah. You started in your living room too, right?
Who didn't?
Yeah.
Who didn't?
Yeah.
Especially then when I was doing, I actually had a whole, maybe like a whole year where the studio was my master bedroom closet.
Can we see Lou in his living room?
You have
Checking out his
you have
million
basement. You
playline.
you have so many different stages of. Look at that. 10
You weren't even on
these,
camera.
Look at these thumbnails,
no,
bro.
and just to say, actually, when you see the 10 years ago on it, do you know what I mean?
Wow.
Like, you're not used to seeing double digits
No.
on the upload date.
I'm not used to seeing such budget-looking thumbnails from your channel.
That's what 10 years will do to you.
Yeah. Do you remember those would have just been screenshots probably from the camera, right? You weren't taking
Well,
thumbnails.
actually, the ability to upload a custom thumbnail was non-existent unless you were accepted into the partner program.
So did you buy like a little light tent where you'd put the mouse inside and snap a photo?
I had all kinds of different gadgets over the years. Different scenarios.
Wow, look at you.
It's crazy, man. That's a bedroom. That's a master bedroom converted. So I had to explain to everybody. Look at my shirt. Look at my T-shirt. It's like a worn out. That's a company that my brother used to work for. That's insane. What's in the container underneath the display?
I'm just kind of thinking like
Snacks.
Guidelines now. Let's not get into detail.
Anyway,
Like
we don't need to spend too much time here. But
it's cool though. It's cool going back and seeing it.
Actually, what I think is significant about that era is that you could get views on content that wasn't produced.
Yeah.
Like to showcase the supply and demand difference and how the ecosystem has allowed the progression of the type of content. Because a lot of people think, well, certainly when you talk about the likes of Google and Facebook and all the whole internet that's ad subsidized, because Apple recently has got real vocal about your privacy and tracking and things like this. But I try to imagine an internet where there was no money to be made, where there was no ad subsidy in the first place. Like, it would have been very difficult for me back then to make a profession out of this with no partner program, which of course relied on pre-roll, which is like how Google gave away Gmail or whatever else it might have been. And there was nobody reaching out 8 years ago to say there was no way to have this job outside of that system existing. And now a lot of other social media has sort of copied it. And certainly people, as the space has matured, have found ways to create businesses that don't necessarily rely on pre-roll in the way that they would have at that point. But this was the type of justification necessary to stick with it. That at some point you had to get paid something for it to keep doing it, or to invest resources into it, or to potentially hire people, or to potentially upgrade equipment,
grow it in any fashion,
in any way.
Yeah.
And we just take for granted the professional internet now.
Yeah.
Like the reason that it all isn't just a forum, a giant forum.
PHP BB forum.
Like we may have some nostalgic kind of feelings about that and long for it, but in reality, like the internet was terrible.
There wasn't much to it. It was Napster,
GeoCities.
Angel Fire.
Oh yeah.
It was not a lot going on.
Remember that?
If you
Yikes.
just subbed in the 10 year ago or 2010 internet on us today, I mean, people wouldn't be ready for it.
Back to the circus.
Yeah, let's go sweep
You
up.
got that paper route still?
Let's go sweep up. So it's like, I don't know, there's a bad rap that goes with it, but I'm telling you right now, pretty much everything that you watch online that is of a particular standard or has progressed in such a way has done so off the back of these programs existing as a place to publish stuff. Like, look at all the other social media. They didn't pay you anything. Instagram, you have these hot Instagram accounts.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you can sell sponsorships and things now, but you're supplying all this content.
But the company, yeah.
And the value generation is mostly for the platform. Like, it didn't have to be the way it was on YouTube. Because I don't know about you, but like in the early days, the AdSense was the thing.
Yeah. Yeah. When I started, it was already there, obviously, because I'm only been doing it half the time you have.
Right.
So I didn't have to go through having a channel that wasn't monetized.
Publishing.
And I hadn't even chosen to make it. Okay, so see that puzzle about Chris Ramsay, that short right there?
Oh, yeah, there you go.
1.4 million. He was doing that while we were on the phone trying to come up with a title for my short. And when he was finished, he's like, by the way, while we were doing that, I filmed and uploaded a short and it's got 1.4 million views in the time it took you to make a title.
I feel
was like, what? He's like, the worse I make them, the better they do. I'm
no.
like, I got to get a thumbnail. He's like, no thumbnail. He's
No
like,
thumbnail.
I upload it, I spit on it. I don't
40
even, it's
seconds.
over.
The more you try,
Yeah.
the worse it is.
That's bad for someone like me because like that's what I do.
You try.
The production
Stop
value
trying,
is what
would
I
you?
like. I couldn't upload something without a thumbnail. I just couldn't.
I think puzzle content works well for shorts, though.
Oh, it's perfect.
Yeah, it's just
That's
like,
actually a great short.
let's watch the short right now.
Oh.
Newton's gravity-defying puzzle. Is there audio to go with it?
Yeah.
Play the audio, Will.
Oh, okay. My bad.
But here's the catch. You can't touch the brown cylinder.
You got to take the red piece out.
Okay.
You can try using your hands all you want as long as you don't touch the brown cylinder. And even with really sticky hands, it doesn't work. There's actually only one way to get it out of there without cheating. And this is how it works. Like this video and subscribe if you want to see more puzzles.
No, he just films it in like 20 seconds. 1.4 million. It's absurd.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, you gotta try making some of these shorts, man. It's fun. Like, just do it. I'm like, all right, I'll turn my camera over. He's like, just use your phone.
You're
I'm
right.
like, oh, dude, you can't say that to me.
Yeah.
It's like, use your phone and don't upload a thumbnail. I'm like, I can't be a part of this.
Yeah.
What?
User gen. It has to have a user gen look to it. It's like going back the other way. It's
Yeah.
people are looking for stuff that looks
Yeah, look at this page right
less
here.
produced. Yeah.
Right? You look at that.
It looks like YouTube from 10 years ago.
You look at that F-150 Lightning thumbnail I have on mine.
It's too good looking.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
It's too good looking. It's scary. I can't click on that.
I can't not do it. Look at that.
It's a great thumbnail.
You only see custom thumbnails for a short on desktop. You will not see them anywhere that shorts are actually served to you, is what they told me.
Right. But do you feel like in a weird way, when a person sees a thumb presented like that they might think they're getting a video and not a short? Because they quickly like just look at it and they see a landscape
It's
thumbnail
potential, yeah.
and they're like, oh, this is going to be a Peter McKinnon video. And then they got like a 40-second.
The next one that we'll be putting out, I could just let it go and see what happens. Just cringe just thinking about it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Listen, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know where things are going to go. I know that I'll be here for a bit. I think you will be too.
I would agree.
I just have one more thing for you
What's that?
before we get the hell out of here.
Yeah. What would that be?
What do you want to say to the people out there that have supported you and helped you get to this point? And what do you want to say to the people who you just met?
To the people that support me, you've got my, which camera do I look at? This one? Is this Hot Ones?
No, right here, right here.
Obviously, yeah. I mean, you can't do this. I can't do this with Lou laughing at me. Thank you. You can't do it without the people. You can't do it without the people. So thank you for your time. It's the most rare commodity that we have, and I'm thankful that you give it to me. So appreciate you. And for the people that are just tuning in, let's go. Pumped.
Lovely.
Watch some videos. Watch some shorts. Let's hang out.
Oh, thanks, by the way. Let's do it again sometime.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Oh, I haven't moved in like 2 hours.
I have to go pee.
This is what bending
I'm
feels
not about
like.
to race anybody there. I'm going
Yeah.
pee first.